Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon when you are watching this or where you are tuning in from. Welcome back to another episode of Balanced Bites. What do you think of the new name? I I think that I like it. So Balanced Bites is all about providing you with tips on time management, and work life balance, all things productivity, but in a very balanced way in 15 minutes or less. So, I am excited to be talking to you today about multitasking. So, the title of today's message or video is Focus Overload. It's all about taming multitasking so that you can create some lasting results. So, before I dive into today's topic, say hello. Let me know that you are here, where you're tuning in from. Just drop it in the comments. Say hello. I always love to engage with you all. I don't want to just be a talking head. So, um, and let me know if you are one of the people who really has bought into multitasking. Like I'm and saying like I'm a really great multitasker and feeling like you need to be able to be working on doing multiple things at a time in order for you to get everything done that you need to get done and make the most efficient use of your time. If that's you, drop a one in the comments and let me know. Um, and actually, if that is you, no shade, no nothing. I'm gonna bust the multitasking myth on today. Um, Research has actually shown that when you multitask, and actually it's not multitasking, it's called task switching because our brains aren't able to focus on two things or multiple things at a time. We're actually going back and forth between multiple tasks, right? So it's task switching. However, research has really shown that when you attempt to multitask or task switch, it takes longer for you to get things done and you end up making more mistakes because you're going back and forth between multiple things. And so we don't want to we don't actually want to multitask. Now, of course, there's certain scenarios where it's a little easier for you to do that. So you might have some simple tasks where the cost is not very great when you are bouncing back and forth. Like, for example, maybe you're doing laundry and cleaning the house at the same time. Of course, that's a different scenario. But when you're talking about being effective at work and you're working on major projects and you're trying to juggle between multiple projects at a time, you're much more likely to make mistakes. Not only that, it's going to take you so much longer to complete the task that you're attempting to complete. And so I really want to get into um, the power of focus on today. I actually had planned to talk about something different today, but I just recently finished reading this book called Indistractable by Nir Eyal. I'm not sure that it might be Eyal. I'm not sure that I pronounced that correctly. But anyway, one of the things that I constantly do is read literature, read journals, read books, articles, all kinds of research on all things productivity. And I believe I created this framework called, I say created, but I have this framework within the work that I do with my clients called the productivity pyramid. And it contains three different elements: time management, which is what most people think about when you're talking about productivity, but it also includes energy management. So being able to manage your personal energy so that you can have the energy to actually get things done. And then focus management, the ability to be able to concentrate on the task at hand so that, again, you can get it done. And so, as a result of having read this book, I really wanted to kind of shift today's topic to talking about focus, right? So, the brain actually is only able to focus on a single task at a time. What happens is when you shift from doing one thing to doing something else, Your brain then has to make the adjustment. And depending upon the complexity of the task that you're working on and the complexity of the task that you're moving to, there's something called attention residue. So it takes it takes a few minutes for your attention to start to shift and adjust to the next task. And then once you have done what you're going to do over there and you're switching back, again, that attention residue is present. And so that's why it ends up taking you so much longer to get things done when you are attempting to multitask. So um, multitasking or task switching can really cause you to not only decrease the quality of your work, but it can impact your creativity as well because you're trying to focus on multiple things at a time and you're not really able to make the adjustment quickly, and that negatively impacts your ability to be creative, which impacts your problem solving and decision making abilities, right? And not only that, it impacts your well-being in a negative way because that can create more stress. It can create frustration and a sense of overwhelm, leading to, we don't want to be overwhelmed because overwhelm leads to burnout. So there's a little trick. No, well, not trick, a little test that I like to do when I am speaking, when I'm doing speaking or workshops and talking about multitasking. And I want you to try this. You don't necessarily need to do it right now, but at some point during the day, if you want to do it now, that's fine. But I want you to do this simple test, right? So I want you to get a piece of paper and let me see. I don't have any paper right here. I have some sticky notes. So I'm going to kind of show you. Right. So I want you to get a piece of paper and draw a horizontal line. And above the line, I want you to write, don't do this right now, right? So I am a multitasker. And then below the line, I want you to write the numbers 1 through 20, right? And when you do that, so you're going to write, I want you to time yourself to see how long it takes you. So you'll set a stopwatch and go, right, I am a multitasker, and then write the numbers 1 through 20, and then turn off the timer. Then I want you to do it again. But when you do it the second time, I want you to alternate between writing, I am a multitasker, and writing the numbers 1 through 20. So you would write the letter I, and then you would write the number 1, the letter A, and the number 2, and so on and so forth. And you're going to time yourself doing this. Typically, what happens when I do this exercise is it takes people approximately twice as long to do that simple task of going back and forth, right? So it's a really clear example of how when you are attempting to work on multiple tasks simultaneously or multitask, that it reduces your ability to focus. Like you have to focus more on getting the things done, and you have to try and think about, well, where did I leave off? What's next? Right. But when you are singularly focused on one task, then that enables you to be able to get the task done more efficiently and with less mistakes. Right. So I hope that I have made you a believer in not, ditching the habit of multitasking. So I want to share with you a few strategies. Got 5 strategies for you on today to help you overcome the habit of multitasking and really enable you to be able to get things done in a very efficient and effective manner. So the first one is to prioritize your task and set some goals, right? So you want to clearly define what your top priorities are for the day or for the week, and then set some really clear and achievable goals, right? One of the things that I do, where is it? One of the things that I do is while I do plan out my week, each morning I have a sticky note. These are a little smaller than what I typically use, but just a traditional like 3x3 sticky note. And I write my 3 most important things that I need to accomplish for the day onto that sticky note. that gives me focus. It's not overwhelming because it's just three things. Once I get these three things done, then I can move on to other things that are less urgent or less important, right? So you can use different tools like to-do lists or the most important things, sticky note to be able to kind of prioritize. You can use project management apps to help you organize and stay on task and really organize your to dos or the things that you need accomplished based on not only importance, but the urgency, right? And by focusing on just one task at a time, that really allows for you to be more strategic and efficient in your approach to getting things done. The next strategy is to implement time blocking. Now, I talk about time blocking all the time. And essentially, what it is you allocate specific blocks of time in your day for different tasks and different types or categories of work. And so during each of the time blocks, then you're going to concentrate specifically on whatever that designated task is without distraction, right? So you're only going to focus on that one identified task or one category of tasks. And this is going to really help to create a structured schedule, and it minimizes the distractions, right? Because what happens is, or minimizes that desire or temptation to multitask because you know you have already allocated a time block for the other tasks that you need to complete. Strategy number three is the Pomodoro technique. This is something else that I talk about regularly because when I talk about time blocking, I talk about Pomodoro simultaneously because it's a really effective tool or technique for using your time blocks. So what you do is the time blocks. When I talk about time blocks, I'm usually thinking 30 minutes or greater. And with Pomodoro, what you do is you break your work intervals into 25-minute, well, it's still a 30-minute time block, but you work for 25 minutes and then you take a break for 5. Did I say 25? You work for 25 minutes and take a break for 5 minutes. And you use a timer to help you stay on track. And what happens is it's best if you can use one that ticks, right? If you can use a kitchen timer where you can hear the tick, 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 tick. But if not, if that's distracting for you, you can just use the timer on your phone, or you can, if you have a Google or an Alexa device, you can tell it to set a timer for you, whatever, an hourglass, whatever it is. You can use some sort of device to help set the time for you, and then you take that break. What happens is, think about when you work out. If you do any type of weightlifting, if you've ever watched anyone who weightlifts or you yourself has done any type of weightlifting exercise, you do a certain number of reps, typically around 12 repetitions, and then you rest for about 60 seconds before you do your next set. The reason for that is it gives your muscles an opportunity to recover before you move into the next exercise or the next set of exercise, so that you don't overload your muscles or overwhelm your muscles to where they break down. Our brain is also a muscle and it needs that rest and recovery period as well. So, having that 5-minute break in between every 25 minutes is really going to be helpful to maintain your focus, right? It helps you to concentrate, it prevents burnout, and it encourages you to be very efficient with your work in very short bursts of time. Tip number four, or strategy number four, is to limit your distractions, right? To really create an environment around you that enables you to focus. So that might look like turning off notifications on your devices, closing out of your email unless you're working on it so that you're not distracted by the pop-up notifications of emails coming in. It may look like putting on some noise canceling headphones or playing some background music so that you can kind of have a more focused work environment. One of the things that I do is I listen to Spotify. And so I either listen to classical focus or deep focus playlists on Spotify when I'm doing focus work. But you want to identify potential distractions in your workplace, and then put into practice some things, some measures to minimize those distractions. And then finally, strategy number 5 is to task chunk, which is basically batching tasks that are similar in nature together in a single time block. For example, if you need to write a proposal and you've got to write some emails or you got to write letters or write content, whatever it is, whenever you're put all of those writing tasks together, because what happens is when you batch your tasks, similar tasks together, it minimizes the cognitive load that is associated with um, context switching, right? So moving from one type of activity to another type of activity that uses different parts or regions of the brain, right? So this is going to really help you to maintain some momentum and efficiency within very specific areas of focus. All right. So today we busted the multitasking myth, and we talked about how important it is for you to work in a very focused way and not go back and forth task switching, right? And then we covered 5 strategies for you to implement to help you to stay focused. I hope that you will start to take at least one of these strategies, start to implement it in your day so that you can be more focused. And let's start to minimize the amount of time that we are attempting to multitask so that you can be more effective, more efficient, and make less errors. So I that is all I have for you today. I will be right back here next week, Tuesday, for another Balanced Bites. Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone.